to the point tutorials. Let's get started. So when I sculpt, I basically use 3 brushes. Okay, so we're going to focus on those now, and let's set them up with hotkeys. Okay, so hotkeys allow you to instantly access these brushes with just by clicking on a key. I want you to set up the brushes I use for pretty much all of my sculpts, which is clay buildup and move. I have these set to keys 1 and 2. How to set up a hotkey is in the brushes menu up here to the left. You're going to click, okay, and I want you to find clay buildup. You'll see it's in alphabetical order. What you're going to do to set up hotkey is Control Alt click on the brush, let go, then type in the key that you want to set it to, which in my case is going to be 1. Okay, so now when I click 1, I get the clay buildup brush. Do the same thing for move, which if you press, while you have brushes selected, if you press M, it'll show you everything starting, it'll highlight every brush with an M. So I want you to do the same thing. Control Alt click, let go, 2. So now move has been set for 2, except for I undid it. Let me just 2. Great. So the third key that I use is the smooth brush, which is already set to your shift. So let's go over these brushes that we've set up, okay? Clay buildup, builds up, move, moves, and shift, smooth, smooths it all out, okay? Easy peasy. And I'll go into detail about brushes later on, but for now, this is like everything I use, basically, until maybe finishing up a sculpt. Next up, setting up reference images. Really easy. Up here to the right, see the see-through? Okay, there's a slider, and you just slide it, and it'll make the whole program more and less visible. And you can work on sculptures at the same time. This is a great tool, my favorite for sculpting, because any quick little things I want to do, instead of importing it into the program, I just, you know, draw it. Or in a lot of times, you know, I'll have Google Chrome, I'll just look something up and then, you know, use that as a reference. And we'll go over a little, you know, reference images and stuff a little later on. Okay, let's talk about saving an object. What you're going to do is, every time you want to save, up here under Tools, you're going to click Save As, and save it. Easy enough. Usually I go by a scheme of, you know, I come up with a name, _001, and save multiple different files. We'll get into that later though. But let's save that sphere. Okay, and every time you want to open the object you had previously saved, you click Load, and then you load. Okay, save, load. Okay, let's talk about Dynamesh. Now, Dynamesh is a tool I'm going to make a whole video about because it's really fantastic. But for now, every time you have a new subtool or geometry, I want you to go to the geometry right here. Dynamesh. Click on Dynamesh. Set the resolution a little bit lower than the standard 128. I usually go 88. It doesn't have to be exact, whatever. And click Dynamesh. Okay, I want you to do that for every new object. Really quickly to go into what Dynamesh does, it basically redistributes resolution and polygons. So, to show you, see, as I pull out, you know, as I'm pulling on this geometry, do you see how the resolution, you know, is getting lower and lower? That's because there's fewer pieces of polygons up here. So what Dynamesh does is, see, it adds the resolution in there. So now we can sculpt like with clay. You know, as I add more and more, I just Dynamesh it, and it adds resolution to the parts where there isn't any. So how to do this is when you've done whatever, to actually Dynamesh on the scene, you're going to click Control, drag out a rectangle, and let go. Okay? Once again, Control, drag out a rectangle, let go. Let's make a new object in a new layer. So in ZBrush, layers are subtools. Okay, so to the right over here, you see subtool. Click on that. Okay, now you see the sphere that we created is currently selected. What we want to do is add a new sphere, object, whatever. We're going to go down here. Okay, several different options. We're going to click append, and in this case I'm going to append or add a new sphere. You know what, let's do a cube so you can kind of see. This will allow you to have multiple objects in a layer that can be worked on independently. The eye, there's several little options you have, we'll go over those later, but the eye to the far right lets you control visibility. So now whatever, only the thing you've clicked on is visible, and if I want, let's say, this cube to be the other thing to be visible, I just click on the eye for the cube. Mess around with that. And later on, when you want to, you can combine these objects. But for now, this allows you to work independently on one without affecting the other. Okay, let's talk about moving an object in space. So what we've been doing is, zooming, rotating, but that's just to work on an object that doesn't actually move the object in space. So up here, we have the move, scale, and rotate options. Okay, let's start with move. Okay, click on move, and I want you, what you do is you click and drag out this bar that allows you to move the object. So for move, you're going to use the center. There's 3 bars, use the center one. Okay, that allows you to move the object in actual space relative to the other objects. What I want you to do is to click the shift button while you're working with these tools. For the most part, there's some exceptions, but especially when you're starting out. So shift, click and drag it out, and shift while you're moving it. Otherwise, see if I don't click the shift button, and it actually, you see how it warps the object because I'm not moving it in a straight line. So let's keep working with the shift. Scale, same thing, shift and drag it out. See, scale it up and down. Rotate, right now it's in symmetry, so it's just going to warp the object, so don't really worry too much about rotate right now. But this is how you move objects in relative space, and it's a little weird at first, but just like everything in this program, my god. Just keep messing around with it, you'll get the hang of it. Realized I forgot to record an outro, so that's about it. Next video I'm going to be going over we're going to work together on an actual sculpt using everything we've learned in parts 1 and 2. So we'll see you then.